Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Kalani Werner. I'm a candidate for the United Public Record State Director. This past Saturday, we had a forum for all state officers to address the membership and share with them the changes and visions they had for this union and to promote themselves. 3 minutes was not enough time for me to share what I had planned. But at the same time, I want to hear what my opponents had to say for themselves and an opportunity to address it in this video. So allow me a few moments of your day to share these thoughts. I'm going to go in order from each candidate and address each one, and then share some stuff about myself and my vision. Start off with Brother Colatero. For the past 9 months, he's been up as staff at UPW's hall. He's a sergeant from the Department of Corrections over at Halava. And like I said, for the past 9 months, he's been the advocate for corrections. Now, my stance on that position from the get-go always has been, where's the advocate for border water? Where's the advocate for DOE? I'm a correction officer and I'm questioning these things. Because how is it only Oahu had its own correction advocate, not the neighbor islands? Everybody still had to share theirs. But that wasn't directed towards Sean. That was actually directed towards Liz Hull, who created the position. But I can say this. For the past 9 months, OCCC has not seen any advocacy from the union. None. Our voices and our concerns fell to deaf ears. And I'll share with you some examples. When Brother Sean first took the position up at the Union Hall, one of our officers was beaten severely by multiple inmates. Word reached the Union Hall that this occurred. And instead of reaching out to his chief steward, he called the warden. He called the employer to verify what happened and if he was okay. So the warden actually shared with him. He's doing fine. He's okay. Shared the picture with staff up at the Union Hall. Officer was beaten so bad that he had to have his reconstruction on his eye socket, replace his jawbone. At no time should any staff, the point of contact when inquiring something, should be the employer. The point of contact should be your stewards, your chief stewards. Next example is one of our brothers was contacted by the employer, told him, we've been putting your comp time to the wrong slot. We were putting your state into your federal into your state. One is unlimited, one is stop after a certain number. Our mistake. My bad. We have to cash you out. This cash out was 700 plus hours of comp time. When this member contacted the Union Hall to talk to the union advocate, he was told this is not something in the contract. This is internal. You have to contact the department directly and handle it yourself. That's sad because the individuals we pay to help us address these issues was turned away. He addressed Sean directly, told him, so if I go out and get my own attorney to fight this and I win this case, you guys not have case law or something to show to move forward in the future? He said, yes. So I'm going to do all the lay work and still pay you for the lay work I'm doing for you. The last case I'll share with you folks is one of our brothers was actually terminated recently. He was terminated while he was out on leave seeking help for a drug problem. He came to us for help. His attendance was getting bad. And then when we sat him down, we found out that while he was out on workers' comp, he became addicted to pain meds. While the employer found this out, even though he was trying to get help at a treatment program, the employer terminated him for abusive attendance. We went to his hearing. Brother Sean Calatero is a business agent or the advocate. He presents to the employer and he says, I have proof that he's exempt from this program. And he shows a piece of paper. And the paper says exemption from the attendance program. What Sean didn't know was that a certain box on that paper had to be checked for him to actually be exempt from the program. So he quoted the paper wrong. Before we even went into that hearing, he told us not to bring up the drug problem, not to bring up anything of that to do with that, because that will only make our case weaker. So when we were in that meeting, Sean realized he checked the wrong box, or the wrong box wasn't checked. I stepped in and I made the argument that his attendance only got bad after his drug addiction started from his workers' comp injury, which caused that what happened at work. He lost his job. He went through the due process, and he's currently working with the AGs and the attorney to be returned to work. Because the argument made of him getting drug addiction from his workers' comp pain meds was a stronger case. Lastly, and I hate to say this, I cannot endorse someone or vote for someone for state director that was for a 0% increase on our contract. He can sit there and brag what he got during when he sat on the ANC, but he wasn't in the middle of a pandemic during this one. To sit there and say what you got before, when things were good, when the state had money, it's not something to brag about. It's not something to promote yourself with. Funny thing is, I actually sat on all those negotiations because I was a strong advocate for the union. I seek the approval to sit on the negotiations as a guest. And the funny thing was, when it came time for pay raises during the reopener, that ENC actually afforded the rights to negotiate over to Dayton and allowed Dayton to negotiate the reopener's pay raise. See, when that happened with ours one, when Sister Liz Ho asked us if she could continue negotiations on her own so she wouldn't have to call us to the table, my answer was no. I earned that right to be on the ENC. I earned that right to negotiate on my members' behalf. Now, one thing that was fed throughout all the candidates was about the 0% raises during this time. And I'm going to be honest, anybody on the FNC and the ENC will tell you, I've been against that from the get-go. Taking from the members' pocket is taking from their mouth. It's taking from their table. When the medical goes up and nothing goes back into the pocket, you're stealing from the members. Actually, while we were getting prepared to go to the first ratification, we met at the Union Hall so those videos for the push would be made. Brother Wataro was actually there, and he was explaining to us, until the employer provides us a final best offer, we shouldn't be accepting this. See, what a final best offer is when the employer tells you, we can't budge anymore. We have nothing else to give. That was never presented to us. We were told to vote on this or our medical drastically go up. But if you guys remember back to that negotiations that Mr. Calatero mentioned, we were able to negotiate the medical and get that out of the way and still need a negotiation for the pay raises. But that wasn't something that was presented to the CNC. We were stonewalled. It was just sad. Really, really sad. But like I said, nobody at that table could ever say that Kalani was for this 0% increase. But that individual was the first one to greet you as staff, telling you to vote yes. Even when we did those ratifications, There were allegations that staff actually clicked the yes button and hand you the tablet. It was addressed afterwards. A staff member was found, disciplined, and addressed. And yes, it was true. She mistakenly hit the tab button to say yes. Asked the member if they were voting yes. He said no. They corrected it. With all that being said, I gotta go with a hard no. That's just where I stand with that guy. I believe Mr. Wataru was next in line with the stuff. So we'll just go into James. Good brother. Me and him sat on many of committees with each other. We've helped plan events for this union. We helped fought for a lot of things for this union. I always had a strong relationship with him. He was always there for my daughter in dark days, and I was actually there for his kids because I actually helped cook a few of their barbecue graduation parties. Where our relation grew apart was at Nakanelua's hearings. I attended all 2 days of his hearings to see what was everything, to hear firsthand what was happening. See, Nakaneelua took the blame for everything. Brother Alton Osaka has the full hearing findings on top of his page. You should go look into it and read it. But Nakaneelua took the full blame. He explained to everyone, the buck stops here. I should have stopped it. I allowed the wasteful spending. I am to blame. I was standing outside when I actually heard Wataru asking Dayton to confirm that he was going to take the blame, that he was going to own to it. He said yes. When they went back into the hearings, the hearing officer asked Wataru if he had anything to say. He said nope. So they moved on to Nakaneelua. He said what he said he was going to do, and he took the blame. He explained that what Genie Indo was doing was wrong, but he was more wrong for not seeing it and catching it and stopping it. He was more wrong for the spending he did and more wrong for all this, but he owned it. And he admitted to it. After Nakaneelua was done talking, Wataru stood up and said, I would like to address the hearing officer. Hearing officer said, no, you had your opportunity. He said, I didn't understand what was going on, but I have something to say now. Pulls out his phone, has a full speech written out. And the part that made me laugh, the part that was pretty sad, is his excuse for everything that happened, his explanation. It's actually in the report of the findings. And he states, yes, I was signing the checks. Yes, I was doing this. But because I didn't know. I'm a blue-collar worker. I'm a strong advocate for the union. I'm not an accountant. I didn't know. See, when we run for these positions, we have to have some knowledge of what we're about to get ourselves into. More so, we have to take the opportunity to train ourselves to get those opportunities. How many conventions he attended, how many seminars he attended, where the financial code was actually offered. But me coming from corrections, one of the things we own is integrity. When we do wrong, we own it. When we do wrong, we admit it. We call it falling on the sword, taking the blame, owning up for what's right. I didn't see that day. It was a sad day. And that's when our relationship grew. Like I said, good brother. I respect the man. Well, that day, it ended. And that's where our relationship gone. But it is what it is. Brother Alton Osaka. Good brother. Real good brother. I like him. I really do. Angry little guy. Got respect for him. Even though one day he can be super mad at me, and the next day he likes me. One day he can be talking behind my back, next day he be talking to my face. Either way, I like him. I really do. Never had a problem with him. Even though he always got resistance before for what he was charging Nakaniulua with, he always did that as a member of this union. So it was within his rights. All members should be able to voice and challenge something. So I always respected him. I always gave him a handshake when I saw him and a hug. Good family man. And I'm actually happy that his speech he gave addressed the correction officers. Thank you for sharing our concerns. Really nice. To my brothers and sisters in blue, we all know one thing. Unless you walked in our boots, walked the halls, did the count, and respond to those backups, you'll never know what it's like. That's one thing I used to always tell the ENC members whenever we're in negotiations and they say, I feel for the ACOs. I have ACO friends. You can feel for us. You can voice concern for us. The day in and day out, what we go through can only be experienced if you wear the uniform. Next thing I need to be thankful for him is to thank you for pointing out everything I've actually been doing for the past year. Propose SOC differentials. Propose to the employer to make changes on how they do investigations. See, SOCs is a standard of conduct. Everyone in the Department of Public Safety receives the SOCs, except for corrections. It's a policy. The union actually doesn't have the authority to come in and change their policy. We could actually probably get a director or the labor board to come in and try to force them. But it would be a hard one because it's been in place so long. So what we'd have to go after is a differential. And we went for it this round. We didn't get greedy. Some people made proposals that they wanted $900 a paycheck differential. They wanted $700 a differential with no standing or soft. I wanted our foot in the door, like the Shopo stewards and the Shopo president instructed us. Get your foot in the door, get any type of differential, and in the future, you negotiate for higher. Investigations, just for you guys to understand what we go through. Individuals who's never worked our job a day in their life, refuses to come to our facilities and visit the jails, try to tell us how we do our jobs. They read only what's in black and white. They don't understand the stress and the stuff we go through. So it's nice to hear other people be concerned. But for past negotiations, I introduced over 20 proposals to the contract to improve working conditions and living conditions for our members. Not only proposals, but solutions on how to solve these problems. Like the attendance program. I made a suggestion to the employer that we should follow fire department. That when one of our brothers is home caring for a sick family member, or they need the time off to care for themselves because they're ill, fighting cancer, whatever the case may be, that another member could work for him, and that individual who's at home gets paid, not the individual working. This would actually help alleviate overtime and help cover each other's shifts, especially when one of our own blue needs assistance. And more than all of us in blue would help that out. Actually, something we've been fighting for years now. We finally got in this negotiation to get the employer to agree, and it's in the process to take effect, is that the employer only has a year to resolve an grievance. Not a grievance, an investigation. A year. We had cases going to 2 to 3 years before being resolved. We finally got the employer to realize that that was wrong. And now it's in the motion. Now, strong message, beautiful message. As an ACO and an adult correction officer, Sergeant Overall CCC, I thank you for your concerns. I thank you for voicing all these things out to everybody. But something needs to be clear. This is the United Public Workers Union, not the United Correction Officers Union. I will bleed blue for the rest of my life for the 18 years I've put on this uniform. Corrections will always be in my heart. But when this position takes over, whoever it may be, everyone in the United Public Worker concerns need to be heard. Everyone's voice needs to be heard. You cannot just focus on one group and just say, I'm going to go help them. Thank you. That's a fight that's being fought. Brother Gordon Leslie, I love this one. Yeah, it is. Uniform on, takes it off, and he goes, we're at war. Awesome guy. I'm going to be honest with you. To the respect to my two brothers who's currently still serving in the military, we're in a fight, not war. To respect to those two individuals and anyone else in this union who served and actually been in war, this is the fight. And it's a fight that we're going to continue to do. Because we got to realize United Public Workers are made up of such a diverse group of individuals that we run the state. I keep saying that over and over. DOE, you guys protect our kids by providing clean working space, study space, protecting them from this virus. EMS, putting yourself at risk and going into homes and taking these guys out and sending them to the hospital. Parks and Recs, keeping our parks and beautiful and upkept so that tourists will keep coming in and spending their money to pay our bills. Lights, roads, wastewater, all of these jobs, we run this state. And that's why all of your concerns is something that needs to be addressed. Not creating one advocate for one unit, for one island. Advocacy for all of us. Should be easy to do, right? We'll get to that later. Last two individuals, I've never actually met them. They both have strong messages. I enjoyed it. I did. What I can say to both of them is, it's easy to judge and talk from the outside. And say, I can't believe you guys did this with the negotiations. I can't believe we set the zero. Easy from the outside to throw a rock at a glass house than it is to be inside and fight the fight that we have fought. Let me share something with both of you, what we deal with on a constant thing that we battle. First one is, during the ratification, Brother Junior, who's running for state secretary, actually showed where the funds were. Showed them where the state money had money and told them, hey, look, we could use this to offset our medical and actually get a pay raise. Fell to deaf ears. When everybody else was ratifying and 10 stood strong and saying, no, we're not going to settle for zero. Something was presented to me and says, Kalani, who are we to ask for a pay raise when UPA settled for 0%? And these are the professors. These are the finance guys for the state. They seek everything. They forecast everything. So who are we to ask for 0%? My answer to that was simple. When you get paid $300,000, you get paid over $250,000 a year, and you get COLA, and you get all these perks as a professor. You can make that sacrifice. Now, maybe I could make that sacrifice. Maybe a few other individuals could make it. But not the single dads, not the single moms, not the working class that only makes between $30,000 to $45,000 a year. Recent surveys show that to survive in Hawaii, you need actually a job that pays around $90 to live comfortably. So who are we to ask if we would take zero? We're the ones that pay the dues. We're the ones that wake up, put on our boots, and go to work every day to provide essential services to the state. It's one thing that was taken away from us guys a long time ago. We used to walk with our heads high. We used to walk with pride. But that was taken from us. If we was to ever strike one day, you know how quick we would shut this state down? And don't look at it, oh, I can't go without money for 2 to 3 weeks. No. DOE shut down, rubbish building up, bathrooms at the parks filled up with shit. Whatever we had at the table would be met real quick. Like my letter says, we run this state. But both of these guys, strong messages, good brothers. But like I said, easy for talk from the outside. Could have been involved. Could have stepped up and moved up like how I did. Steward to chief steward to delegate to VP, then on to staff. Could have done anything you guys wanted. Actually, on the island of Maui, a lot of their positions on the state board always went uncontested. Big Island, Kalani's chief steward was vacant for a long time. No one stepped up. Both guys, strong messages. If you get in, I'll back you. If you don't get in, I challenge you to step up and keep fighting. Be more involved. Contract enforcement. Sergeant from Kalani made a comment saying he was a working sergeant. He works a position as his and then actually works his ACO's job. It's actually in our job detail. Like I said, I'm a sergeant from UPW. We are working supervisors. That's in our description. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I don't know how that's something to promote yourself. When that you're promoting what you're supposed to do. Let me share with you what my schedule is like. Work 4 16s in a row. Sometimes on the 5th day, we get stuck on the 24. My first day off, normally hearings from my officers. Normally something to do with the union. My one free day, I spend it with my family. That's what I'm talking about, going above and beyond. Like I said, when we went through hardship at UPW, the way we knew we was going to make changes got more involved. And we did. We got really involved. To running chairs for some committees, running boards, and so forth. But let's talk about myself now. Been with the department for 18 years. For the past 5, I got more active with the union. I'm a foster parent. My 18-year-old daughter was in our foster care, and we adopted her when she was 2. Middle child of 10 kids. Was raised to be family first and to love God. Why is this important? Like I always said to you folks, we got to treat this union like it's a family. And if I can put my family first, I'm going to put you first and all your concerns first. Mom and dad. Mom was a stay-home mom, helped raise all of us. Dad was an ILW union organizer for over 40 years. I was 12 years old when I first sat on my first negotiation table, listening from behind. Most kids' summers and spring breaks out swimming and having fun. Kalani was stuffing bags for the ILW convention. So this union advocacy thing is nothing new to me. I was always a strong believer of family first. Faith, family, friends. But like I said on Saturday, how do we do this? How do we treat each other as family? The good book tells us, love one another as I have loved you. Beautiful message. Strong message. Basically just saying, treat each other as family. Protect one another. So where we start? We start with the kapunas. The individuals who are about to retire out. See, our financial foundation is built off of them. And yet, the day they retire, they can't participate in any events that we hold. So that rule has to change. I feel if a member invested for 30 plus years, you're talking close to $30,000-$40,000 of their own money into this union. After they retire, they should be able to participate in a picnic, a barbecue, a water park, whatever it may be. We never forget where we came from and who led us to be there. Said our new members coming in through the door. Our brothers and sisters need to be welcome with open arms. I apologize. Plain. Live near the airport. New brothers and sisters coming into their door. We have to greet them with the contract, constitution, bylaws, anything we can do to help them stronger advocates and realize why they invest into this union. Because the only way we're going to get stronger is if we get stronger in that contract. That's it. How do we do that? That's all the members in between. We train them. UH West has a program already that we already established as our steward training. But we train the stewards, members, everyone in contract enforcement. Stronger advocacy in the workplace leads to one thing: freeing up our business agents' time so that they can focus on our grievance and arbitrations. Myself, I handle all our hearings. I rarely use any of the business agents in hearings. I have a high success rate because my knowledge of the contract is strong. But I need to share something because I've heard your guys' concern on Saturday from my other opponents when they said they don't get their phone calls returned in a timely manner. I have a suggestion to that. In the first 48, they don't return. Call their supervisor. Go up the chain of command. Then follow your complaints. Don't let your problems go unheard. You pay your dues. It should be heard. Period. Now, what's the plus side about members being trained? Members growing so strong that even we couldn't file our own grievances. We start hiring them as business agents. Who better to represent our members than the individuals who walk the mile in our shoes? I might understand the contract says for border water supply workers. Well, I never understand it because I never worked the job. But then who better to represent them than one of their own who actually knows what's going on? Who better to represent Parks and Recs than an individual from Parks? And I keep calling them Parks and Recs, but I got to correct that because Recs is HGA. Parks. Who better represent Parks than one of their own members? Who better to address the nepotism that goes on in Parks than someone from Parks? Same thing with all our departments. But that's how we do it. We build our training and we create a pass-fail program. So that when we find these individuals and they're so strong in the contract acknowledgement of the enforcement of the contract, we hire them as business agents. I think that's something good. It could work out. In our contract, we have safety committees. Well, CCC hasn't seen the safety committee in years. I want to hire a staff that sole purpose is addressing safety committee, freeing up more time with the business agent to address these issues. He'll set up meetings daily with each different units. So that monthly, he's addressing all the different ones. And then in time, we'll be able to establish what the employer is not doing. And we'll be able to file grievance stronger. Give this guy a secretary so he can work on the field and be told what to do and keep updated where his next meeting's at. Maybe we bring someone in from membership to do this. Yeah, I think so. Now, Last thing is about the staffing. Brother TK from the Big Island made a comment. He said workers are overpaid. Actually, to quote him properly, it was they're paid for the work they do. Those agents are overworked, overstaffed, and so forth. The problem is not their pay. The problem is their workload. Now, do we hire more staff and address this issue? Because like we said in the beginning, what if everybody had their own advocate? What if everybody could just pick up that phone and they're waiting on the other side? Wouldn't that be a beautiful day? But as far as their pay goes, that's why we lose so much. That's why certain units go 6 to 8 business agents in a 2-year period. Because other locals, other unions, other employers still are agents when their contract and knowledge grows stronger. So we got to figure out some way to keep our agents. We're losing too many of them. I know for the longest time, a lot of them thought it was Lori Santiago that used to chase all of them away from Oahu. We don't know. The funniest thing I forgot to mention earlier, since we're talking about staffing, Brother Nosaka had called me when we first were nominated for a position, and he asked me, Kalani, you plan on bringing Dayton back as staff? My answer to him was, hell no. Hell no. Nakane'ulua's time has come to an end. I have no intent to ever bring him back as staff. Why that was presented to me as a question, I don't know. If I made it clear then, I'll make it clear now. The answer is no. Brother Man has lived his time, has moved on. The members are done. As long as I've been involved with this union, I've sat on a number of committees. PAC Political Action Committee. Actually, on the PAC committee, if some of you remember, I was actually one of the only members that advocated for a Republican. A labor union endorsing a Republican. That's crazy. But if any of you guys heard me talking during the Section 8s, remember, that individual running was a member's wife. So my loyalty is not to a single party. My loyalty is not to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, to anything. My loyalty lies with the members. So one of my members' wives are running, or even if one of my members are running, that's who we're going back. Because like we told everyone when she ran, who better to fight our fight than an individual, if she voted against us, would affect her own house. Sports committee, I took over when I got on, started up events, started slowly getting everything. I turned it over to Brother Darrell Wilcox because he always handled ours for corrections, and he took that off. Entertainment committee, if you guys ever been to any of our events, you realize our events are getting much better. More crowded, more full of love with family. But that's something we need to address also. See, our funds, when we pay our union dues, goes into the local fund. And then it's divided into each division for each island. Public sector, the island of Kauai, Oahu, Maui, Big Island. Now, the money they get is based off their membership. So, sometimes Oahu can have bigger events than the neighbor islands. But the neighbor islands can't actually come to any of the Oahu events because that comes from Oahu division money. So one of the first things I want to try and address is putting the money just into the local and having the local pay for these events. We base off of each division's number. But that way, if some brothers and sisters or family on Maui wants to be able to come over to Oahu and join Oahu for their fun, you should be, because we're all family. Your location on where you live or where you were born shouldn't affect on what you enjoy and partake in. Sounds good, right? Entertainment committee this year got some good events coming up. We'll be announcing it within a week or so. Listen up. and follow Oahu. If I can, I'll get the rest of you guys involved. As far as anything else when I plan on getting in, we're going to get that hazard pay taken care of. We're going to resolve it. We're going to fight for it. I'm still amazed we don't have shortage pay. For our brothers and sisters in blue, we're working 16, 24 hours shifts on a regular. Brother Halava holds a record for a 62-hour shift at a hospital with a firearm. I don't know how that's a safe work environment. No shortage pay. Something we need to look into. Maybe via that safety committee. That's an idea. It would be nice. It would be fun. But that's what a leader of this next union should be. Something that sergeants are always told and trained with. LTD, lead, train, and direct. As a leader, I'll submit proposals like I did for that contract. Proposals I submitted to Ledge to come this January and now being backed by the union. Let me explain the three of them. First one is to address the state lottery. Currently, most of it's going to the rail. I want to reshuffle how it's spent. 11% goes to income tax. 10% goes to help pay for kids' meals from pre-K to 12th grade. The last 9% goes to offset medical costs for state and county workers. I presented this to a senator from Hawaii, and he said, damn, Kalani, I wouldn't be able to not support that because then I say I'm against kids getting free meals. So you got to come to the table, not only showing them the problem, but trying to help find the problem solution. Next one I suggested was appreciation to all the frontline workers. 25 years retirement, regardless of age, 100%. That's something I've been fighting since day one in my advocacy in this union, and I'm going to continue that fight. When come time for that goes in front of subcommittees and Ledge, we need all of us to come out and fight. Because that's not just us. That's teachers, sheriffs, SHOPO, everybody. And we got to come on strong for that one. DOE will benefit. DLNR, lights, janitorial, cafeteria workers, all of you will benefit from that. So we all need to come out strong and support it. Last one, I'll admit, I made a proposal to reshuffle the bargaining unit. I asked that the correction officers moved into their own unit. That wasn't out of greed. You got to understand, during negotiations, I shouldn't be giving up something I fight for, that I need for my members, for the brothers and sisters at the hospital to gain something. And shouldn't be vice versa. They shouldn't have to give up something that they negotiate and they propose so that the ACOs can get something. We're essential workers, but two totally different jobs. This is something that has happened recently in the past years with sheriffs going into their own and then lifeguards going into their own. So it's something we need to look into the future, that we separate more so that the negotiations can be stronger. This wasn't about us trying to be greedy. It wasn't about us trying to say we're going to run away from the union. Solely so that we can negotiate stronger. But like I said, a leader who leads and finds ways to make life and living better. Train. I already showed you how I want to do the training. And direct. I will direct us in the right way. The direction I want to go is a beautiful thing. It's going to make the membership strong again. And we're going to stand as a family. We're going to hold our heads up high. When we walk into that work job site, the member is going to know UPW is in the house. The employer is going to know UPW is in the house. Back in the days when you actually used to have to hire muscle to keep the union out from talking to the members. I seen that firsthand when I was young. I'm bringing those days back. When we show up and they're actually worried. Now, this vacancy that's open right now, it's more than just filling a vacancy, a spot in a board or a spot in a position somewhere. Either it's a state director, state president, or state treasurer. This is all has to do with each of us' livelihood and our family's safety and our family's future. All of us is one day away or one paycheck away before after probably picking up and moving to the mainland. So that's why I ask you what type of leader you want. A leader who's made the proposals and has been fighting that fight? Or the guys who greet you and tell you, take the 0%, it's a good offer. That's why we gotta stand strong, guys. We gotta be ready to fight. We gotta be ready to call the employer's bluff when it's time to strike. These are all ways we're gonna become stronger. Now, one of my greatest faults, I've said this time to time, is I don't hold grudges. I don't. Got a big heart. I don't care if somebody's talking trash behind me, spreading rumors behind me. I'll address half of the things they say. What they're going to say about me. I gave up my VP seat so I could become staff because I strongly knew that the position I took up to address the people opting out was a position needed. Because if we have no money coming in, we have no union. Try getting a hold of a business agent when there's only one statewide. I took that position to make sure we still had funds coming in. Like I said, we should start up organizing. More funds coming into the private sector. These are all things that we need to be prepared for. I'll leave you with this quote. I know a lot of people are quoting dead presidents, leaders, and so forth. But this is something that my grandma, who was a kahu for our church, taught me. Love the ones that hate you. Pray for the ones who despise you. I was crazy when I heard that when I was a young age. It came true later on in life. Quick, people are to judge. Quick, people are to hurt you and backstab you. But that's all you can do. Love the ones that hate you. Pray for the ones that despite you or try to use you. From the good book. Lastly, or even though I said that a couple times already, humbly ask you for your vote. Allow me to be that voice that fights for you. Allow me to be that leader for you. I humbly ask for your vote for the United Public Workers State Director. And let me fight that fight for you. Brothers and sisters, stay blessed. Have a beautiful week. Stay strong. If you ever need me or you need help, feel free to call 216-2784. I got no problem sharing my number either. Side note, married on Filipino. So if you call late at night and she answers and you hang up, that's just a mean fight I won't get into. Just tell her you're looking for me. 216-2784. Brothers and sisters, I love each and one of you. I support each of you in your struggles. Please don't let your vote be silenced. Get out and vote. Mahalos.